Hello RuneScape fans, and welcome to another episode of the History of RuneScape Quests, a series in which I, Vamoria, look back on the adventures and stories that have made RuneScape the icon of online gaming that it is today. The idea of the series is to revisit these quests for those that might have done them, but, many years ago, fill in the blanks for those that haven't even touched them yet, and have a bit of a trip down memory lane. For this episode, we'll be doing the three quests, Ernest the Chicken, Vampyre Slayer, and Imp Catcher. Let's get started. So Ernest the Chicken was released on the 21st of January 2001 and is one of the sillier quests released around this time. The story has you helping out a young lady by the name of Veronica, who is standing lost on the outskirts of a dark, rundown and intimidating Draenor manor. Her fiancé, Ernest, had gone to the house to look for directions but hasn't yet returned, and she is worried because he's a bit of a coward. Heading inside the mansion, you encounter a strange professor named Dr. Odenstein, who explains that Ernest had helped out with his experiments, but something had gone awry with one of the doctor's machines, and Ernest had been left as a chicken. We're not talking metaphorically, we're talking literally. Ernest has become a chicken. To correct this, the professor needs you to find some machine parts that have been hidden around the mansion by poltergeists. These can be found in the garden's fish pond, in a pile of compost, and within a secret room in the mansion's basement. Once these are retrieved, the machine is fixed, and Ernest gets returned to normal, and he can reunite with his beloved Veronica. Review-wise, this quest is excellent, and I love it. To my mind, this is the quest when RuneScape's silly writing began to really shine through. RuneScape has always excelled at quests when compared to other MMOs, and you can see the beginnings of that here. The three preceding quests, which you can find my video about linked here, are a bit more straight-laced, and none of them have the find a guy who has been transformed into a chicken plot. The plot is nonsense, the mansion is filled with puns, and it's just a lot of fun. So Vampyre Slayer is the next one, and it's very simple if the name is anything to go by. It was released a week after Ernest, on the 28th of January 2001, and made use of the same setting, that being Draenor Manor. After speaking to a villager named Morgan, the adventurer finds out that a vampire has been terrorising the town from its lair within the manor's basement, and is tasked with slaying it, hence the name of the quest. The player is pointed towards a Dr. Harlow, who is a retired slayer currently whiling his life away at the Blue Moon Inn in Varrock, that we would have visited when we were finding the Shield of Arav. You visit him at the pub, buy him a bevy, and get given a stake to hammer into the vampire's heart, which is the only way that he knows of to kill a vampire. The player then has to find and kill this vampire. For the time, I remember the boss fight being quite hard, but you could make it easier if you had a clove of garlic in your inventory. And once he is defeated, the quest is over. As this is a straightforward quest, there isn't much to say about it, but I do like that there is an easy mode if you're paying attention to the dialogue, as both Morgan and Dr. Harlan mention taking garlic with you. If you spacebar through the quest, you might miss it. I also like that it happens in the same location as Ernest. RuneScape has quite a connected world, even at this time when it wasn't as big as it is now, and it meant that you could easily stumble onto another quest while completing one, giving a natural sort of sense of progression. It would be like, I'll help out killing this vampire later, right now, I've got to turn this chicken back into a man. And the final quest for this video is Imp Catcher, which started off life as a very, very simple quest when it was released in February of 2001, but after receiving an update in 2017 became a bit more interesting. I do enjoy that Jagex has periodically kind of gone back and reworked older quests to bring them more in line with the times. So from a story point of view, Imp Catcher introduces you to the wizard Mizgog, who is distraught that a rival wizard ordered their imps to steal his magical beads and spread them out around the world. In the original version, these beads were tradable and dropped randomly from imps you could kill around Gielinor, so it was up to the player to either kill the imps until they were dropped, or just buy them from other players. The updated version of this quest made the magical beads unique and attaches them to individualized imps that hang out around the elemental altars that you would use for runecrafting. The white phlegmatic bead is held by an imp near the water altar who is feeling unwell after being given a, quote, white pill by Wizard Greyzag, his master and rival to Mizgog. Remember, just as a general life advice, don't take anything a stranger gives you, it just is not worth it. The player gives the imp some water and he vomits up the white bead. Very handy. The choleric, or the yellow bead, is obtained from an aggressive imp near to the fire altar. He's been feeling pretty aggy ever since swallowing this bead, and once defeated he will hand it over once he's dug it out of his own vomit. The black melancholic bead is found at the earth altar, swallowed by an imp who is feeling downtrodden and depressed. You cheer him up, and as a treat, he vomits up the bead to give to you. Then finally, the red sanguine bead is found near the air altar in the tummy of a very energetic imp that challenges you to a race around the altar. When you win, he gives you the bead, vomiting it up after exercising too hard. Once these have all been collected, you return them to Misgog and complete the quest. So these beads are based on the 4 temperaments, which is an extremely old way of looking at personality types, founded on the idea that the body's humours were unbalanced. It would lead to issues. These humours are black bile, yellow bile, phlegm, and blood, and the personality issues are reflected in the imps. The imp with the red sanguine bead is overly energetic because he has too much blood, and that's just how that works. Whereas the depressed black bead melancholic imp is depressed because there's too much black bile in him, and to be fair, that does sound like it sucks. The yellow is aggressive due to increased yellow bile, and the white is apathetic and ill because he just has so much phlegm. As a review, this is one where the updated quest is way more interesting than the original. In 2001, the quest was just kill some monsters to collect some loot, which you can find as a quest in literally any other MMO. But the later version, with the beads based on the ancient idea of humours, is so much better and much more RuneScape. It has characters, silly premise, and globetrotting, and everything that makes RuneScape quests unlike those you would find in other MMOs. Admittedly, it did take them 16 years to upgrade it, but it got there in the end. And that is it for the video. We're still in the early years of RuneScape, so the quests are relatively simplistic, but the quests are still undeniably RuneScape and display that trademark charm. I hadn't realised until I started researching for the video that this style of writing has been a staple for RuneScape from basically the beginning. In the next video, I'm going to be looking at the quests The Knight's Sword, Goblin Diplomacy, and Pirate's Treasure. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like if you learned anything, subscribe if you want to see more, and drop me a comment to say if you have any fond memories of these quests, or if you purposely avoided using garlic to slay Count Draenor so that you could gloat to your friends about how alpha you were. Take care everyone, and happy gains.